2.7, using the distributive property. So when you're looking at distributive property, what happens is, doesn't matter if it's addition or subtraction, there's a number outside of the parentheses and there's numbers inside the parentheses. So what you're doing is you're sharing that A with everything inside the parentheses. So A times B and A times C. Same thing here, A times B, A times C. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's an addition or a subtraction problem. This only happens, distributive only happens when there's an addition or a subtraction. So let's look at what that means. This is a -4. I'm going to distribute it to everything inside the parentheses. We're looking at the terms. Remember, and we haven't talked about terms yet in this class, but I know you talked about it in 7th grade. Term is separated by a positive or a negative. So it's this times the first term, this times the second term, this times the third term. So we have -4 times x minus, okay, the minus right here, -4 times 2y plus -4 times 3z equals. Now we have to clean it up. We get -4x. A negative makes a positive, and 4 times 2 is 8y. Negative times a positive is a negative. 4 times 3 is 12z. And you'll notice I kind of notate my z a little differently. You have to be really careful when you have a z in the problem so it doesn't look like a 2. So find a way to really make sure they look different. For me, I put the line there in the z. Let's try another one. All right, so we're going to distribute that -5 to the 3 terms inside the parentheses. It's -5 times that x minus -5 times 3y plus -5 times 8z. So -5x just stays there, but a negative, remember, makes a positive. 5 times 3 is 15y. Positive with a negative is a negative. 5 times 8 is 40, and the z. Okay, now when we reverse this process, we call it factoring. So what I want you to look at right now is here we distributed the number out. If we came down here, we could probably figure out that between 5, 15, and 40, the thing they have in common is a 5. So looking at this problem, we've made it really easy for you. You can see the 5. So if I say, oh, I can take a 5 out of both, I'm going to cross the 5 out and see what's left. I have x minus y. So it's not really even anything you have to remember. After you take the 5 out, it's just copying what's left, x minus 5. So let's look at one a little more difficult. So you've got to first ask yourself, what can you take out of 8x and 16? So this is 8 times x, and this is 8 times 2. So I know I can take my 8 out. Again, crossing my 8 out, parentheses. What goes in my parentheses is x plus 2. Okay. Again, what I can see what they all have in common. This actually has 2 different numbers we can use. We can use -2 or we can use regular 2. It really just depends on what the problem's asking for. So let's go ahead and do -2. So this is -2 times y plus, to get 8z, I need -2 times -4z. Negative times a negative gives me a positive. 2 times 4 is 8. Here, -2 times 1. So if I take that -2 out, go back and cross it off. There it goes, there it goes. And actually this, here's what you have. Y plus -4z, and in this case, it's plus 1. So we're looking at a positive with a negative gives me -4z, whoops, plus 1.